Oh, hey there. This is Jesse White Deer, co-host of That's Three Rough, a wrestling podcast. And this week's episode is a very special episode. It is our live show / movie review of Mr. Nanny, starring Hulk Hogan, a family comedy all the way from 1993. Very cool stuff there. This episode was recorded live at Kind Origin Dispensary on October 14th. And we decided to put this out as a very special episode and also as a placeholder because, unfortunately, we had a little bit of hiccup in our regular scheduling to that next week. Don't you worry. But I had a little bit of a hiccup. I had some sickness and some other things going on. So, unfortunately, life happens. But we will get back to our regular schedule for all of you out there. I also wanted to mention if you have a question about the this week's episode, about Mr. Nanny, and of course we will be doing Starrcade next week, and then Halloween Havoc 1993 after that. If you have a question about either of those two events, you can submit your question to that's3ref@gmail.com, or you can IM the Facebook or Instagram page, That's 3Ref, a wrestling podcast at both of those. I also wanted to mention this week's pet of the week is Granger, your friend and mine. And of course, Granger is the lovely, lovely dog of Jonathan Hicks. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for submitting Granger as pet of the week this week. Thank you, Granger, for being your wonderful self. And of course, if you want to submit your pet for pet of the week, it could be a dog, cat, a turtle, rabbit, whatever. You can submit that to That's 3Ref, a wrestling podcast at gmail.com. Or of course, instant message the Facebook or Instagram page, and with the hashtag pet of the week, and of course the pet's name. And if you want to include a fact about your pet, that would be great too. But of course, we'll be pumping out all this great content for you in the next coming weeks. But yeah, so on to the episode. I'll let you enjoy that. You guys enjoy yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. And yeah, live your best life. Well, we'll see you next time. And on to the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to That's 3Ref, a wrestling podcast.
Everybody, all 10 of you out there? Yeah, all right. So this is your friendly neighborhood cosplaying goof, Jesse White here, and we are live in Kind Origin in Ada, Oklahoma. Make some noise. This is the first live show. We are reviewing Mr. Nanny, the 1993 Hulk Hogan family comedy that haunts our dreams still to this day. Appreciate you guys laughing about that. I am, of course, joined by the Bagman, Cody Baggs. That's Bags with a Z. That's how you know he's cool. Cody Baggs. I feel like Vince Russo wrote that joke. Shout outs to him. You can talk into the microphone. Whatever.
I mean, if it has a Z in it, then Vince Russo probably had a hand in it.
There you go. So it looks like we got one person. And then, of course, we got the Fragmented Luchador, Chris Lawson, everybody.
Hey, yo, what's up?
Hey, yo, what's up? He can't die, ladies and gentlemen. So all 10 of you out there are welcome to try. And, of course, we got your favorite local Oklahomie, or in the greater state of Oklahoma, we got your Oklahomie, Ian Cooper, everybody.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you so much for all 10 of you joining us today. So here we are covering Mr. Nanny for your entertainment. So I'm going to hit you guys with the facts, and then we'll go from there. Mr. Nanny was released on April 2nd, 1993 in the UK. And October 8, 1993, in the U.S., it was distributed by New Line Cinema. Some would say the house that Freddie built.
I agree with that.
Okay. Anybody out there like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
Best movie, horror movie, in my opinion.
Okay. Chris?
If it wasn't for Freddy, we wouldn't have Freddy versus Jason. So
That's
I
true.
mean, there's a classic right there.
Freddy versus Jason, place your bet. Runtime was 84 minutes, though. It made 4.3 million against a budget of 10 million. So pretty disappointing there. Mr. Nanny was directed by Michael Bernard, and I did not look this up. Gottlieb, 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 the American film director and screenwriter. He is best known for directing the films Mannequin, 1987, starring Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall. Shout outs to all the Sex and City fans out there. All right, all 10 of you. And also directed a kid in King Arthur's Court, 1995, which was loosely based, Cody, and you might know this, on the Mark Twain 1889 novel, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Yeah, you would think that was something that I knew, but I didn't.
Okay. Got an English degree for no reason, so I'm just kidding. Now, see, when I make my insults, you guys are right next to me, so you could, legitimately attack me.
Like it's a super kick.
Well,
I'm too weighed down by my student debt.
there you go. I'm weighed down by my family trauma, I think. So thanks, Mom and Dad, for that. No, I'm just kidding. The film stars Thomas Ian Nichols, Josh Ackland, and Art Malik, and is notable for being one of the first films of Daniel Craig and Kate Winslet. So make some noise for Kate Winslet, everybody. Following the release of A Kid in King Arthur's Court, Gottlieb transitioned into the video game industry, working as a producer for the remainder of his entertainment career. Unfortunately, on May 20, I don't know why that got a laugh at. It did, but on May 23rd, 2014, Gottlieb was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident on the Angeles Crest Highway in La Canada, Filtridge, California. So, rest in peace. Okay, all right, well, thanks for treating that with all the sincerity that it needed. So, so sorry. It stars Hulk Hogan as Sean Armstrong, Sherman Helmsley as Burt Wilson, Austin Pendleton as Alex Mason Sr., Madeline Zima as Kate, Robert Gorman as Alex Jr., Mother Love, whoop whoop, as Coraline, yeah, and David Johannesson as Tommy Thanos. I heard it as Thanos, so he might be the Mad King, the Mad Titan himself, Thanatos. Why are you holding the mic like Eminem? You're like this. You're cupping the mic. You're kind of holding it like LA Knight, when he does the.
Yeah, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
He told the Street Profits, I love this, he told the Street Profits that he would make change of both of their $5 asses. So that's a shout out to New Jack City for all 10 of you out there. So, guys, we had cameos at the beginning of this movie by Brutus the Barber Beefcake as his Zodiac character, George the Animal Steel, Alpha, Kumala, and of course Jim Neidhart, who we've had some recent dealings with in this recent rundown. But yeah, before we get into the plot and everything, did you guys have any early memories about this movie? And what are your opinions of the Hulk Hogan movies in general?
It's not like Hogan really needed the money anyway, but but yeah, they were just very good entertaining when you were a kid. Now you look back and like, oh my god. Such 90s, such cringe.
Yeah, I'll say that I spent 30 years of my life avoiding this movie, along with his other films. So there's that. Thanks for ending that streak, Jesse. Really appreciate it.
Much like the Taker streak, it is now forgotten.
Yeah, for me, I was a huge mark for New Line Cinema, so I probably watched every one of these movies that Hulk Hogan did at least once.
Well, we got a Hulk Hogan movie savant in the crowd, or actually on stage. I don't know why I said in the crowd. Does your mask have it? I just noticed your mask has earrings.
It does. It really does.
That's interesting. Huh.
It goes
Okay.
with the nose ring.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Huh. Ain't that a quinkadink? But let me go ahead and get into this plot, and then we'll talk about our favorite parts for the movie. Sean Armstrong, played by Hulk Hogan, is a former wrestler living in Palm Beach, Florida. Been there one time. That's pretty cool. And suffering from wrestler days nightmares. Bert Wilson, Sean's friend and former manager, has a bum leg from saving Sean's life and financial difficulties with his personal security business. I don't know why they had to add that. The man is already shot in the leg. We don't need to talk about his failing business. But nevertheless, with much whining and acting, Bert manages to persuade Sean to take a bodyguard job for Alex Mason Sr., the head of the prestigious tech firm, you guessed it, Mason Systems. So, named it after himself. Pretty cool there. Which is developing an anti-missile system, the Pathfinder Project. I feel like that's a telethon, like a Jesus telethon you would have outside of town. Come to the Pathfinder Project and be redeemed. I don't know. I mean, given the recent news, that might not be a bad thing to check that out. I don't know. Maybe we're all doomed. Anyways, the vital information for this project is stored on a microchip, but it is neither the inventor nor the chip Sean has to guard. He has to look after Alex Jr. and Kate, Mason's kids. I don't know why I said that's very scary. Menacing, ominous. Yeah. There you go. Alex and Kate are two highly mischievous kids who vie for the attention for their often too absent father's attention by wreaking havoc in the household via elaborate and rather vicious pranks and booby traps. With their specialty targets being the nannies he assigned to take care of them, Alex Sr. is a widower. That's just what it says. So that sucks, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote it like that, but
Such is life.
Such is life. Well, I don't know if we want to put the business out there, but I'm the only one up here not married and divorced. So,
Hey, listen, we made choices.
Yes, agreed.
That was a really Hill thing to say, Jesse.
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Hill Jesse in his finest.
Uncle Jesse at his finest lady.
Cody has the mustache. I think I'm turning Hill mid match. But anyways, sorry I brought that up.
The bad guy stash.
Is it the Cody Rhodes stash?
However, their father. Dashing Cody Rhodes. That's right. Yeah, there you go. Heck yeah. I think it was Dashing.
I told you I was showing up at the gimmick change.
At least it's not the thin line Bigfoot man like black mustache.
The head of the Mexican cartel.
A silent movie mustache.
I forgot. Yeah, that's right. It's all coming full circle. I lost my place. However, their father proves to be either too distracted or too lenient. Is that funny? A man's life has fallen apart. No, I'm just kidding.
You lost your place.
Yeah, as I want to do, which causes the children to continue their schemes, thinking that he is a new Albert unusual replacement. They find a new target in Sean, but after one prank too many, which involves a swimming pool full of red dye, the pit of blood. The pit of blood. Sean finally exerts his authority and not only gets to quiet Alex and Kate down, he also manages to open the eyes of their father to his family problems, like Jesus Christ himself. All while bonding with the kids and managing to help them sort out their problems of their own, which includes, I think, Sean Jr. is getting bullied, and I don't know what Kate's problem is, but yeah. Anyways, Mason's chip is converted by Tommy Thanatos, an unscrupulous and vain criminal who will stop at anything to get it. As it turns out, Sean, I wrote that weird, sorry, Mr. English major who could have proofread this.
Listen, it's been a day.
Oh, yeah, sorry. As it turns out, Sean and Bert had once been at the receiving end of one of his schemes. He had ordered them to throw a match, and when they did not comply, he attempted to shoot them. However, Bert threw himself in front of Sean, which that's very subjective because in the movie, Sherman Hemsley just kind of straddles Hulk Hogan's lap and then gets shot in the leg. So I don't know if that means he threw himself in front of it, but I digress.
Is he by any chance related to Hunter Hearst?
Yes.
He fell into hard times after the moving to the east side. He fell in hard times, so I guess he had a slight advantage of Hogan.
Is that a
Jefferson?
Jefferson's?
Yes. Sure, he fell in hard times after moving to the east side.
Hold on. So we got a Jefferson's reference in 2023.
Yes.
Ian, that's why I brought you onto the podcast for that.
Yeah.
Listen, you need to know that at no point in this movie did I ever bother to learn his name. The whole time I was talking to my wife about it, I just kept calling him George.
Yeah.
It's Bert.
Well,
I see that now.
Yeah. It was like George. Yeah.
There's no point in learning it. I mean, it's George Jefferson.
It is. Thank you. It was the whole time.
I was going to say, George.
Well, shout outs to George Jefferson. Moving on up.
I guess.
Yeah, right. Moving on to the east side. Sean had chased Thanatos to the roof of the stadium, and after a furious fight, that sounds like an 80s hair metal band, furious fight, Thanatos ended up, there you go, and Thanatos ended up plunging headfirst into an empty pool. The question is, why was it empty? Did people not want to swim? This accident fractured the top of his skull, forcing the attachment of a steel skull plate and removing the bulk of his proud afro mane, which was a fever dream almost. Can we also talk about that, like Hulk Hogan in this flashback has a mullet, but it's just like hair draped over his already balding head.
But he had the Clark Kent curl.
Yes, he did.
Thanatos kidnaps Alex Sr. with the help of Frank Olson, the corrupt security chief of Mason Systems, who is disposed of en route to the hideouts. He gets ejected from his limousine seat like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and demands of him to hand over the chip. When Alex Sr., who stored the chip in Kate's doll, refuses, Thanatos has Alex and Kate kidnapped in order to force him to comply. Despite a valiant effort, Sean is overpowered and Bert is taken as well, giving Thanatos an unexpected revenge bonus. But Sean manages to track down Thanatos and with the help of his friends is able to beat the villains. As Thanatos prepares to charge Sean, Alex Sr. and the children activate an improvised electromagnetic to launch him into the night sky, leaving only his skull cap. So they essentially kill this man.
Listen, I just want to throw in here real quick that there are much better places he could have hidden that shit rather than in his daughter's doll. Like,
yeah.
Like, are we supposed to be rooting for this guy?
I think so. I think he's a good guy, even though he's an absent father.
But the moral of the story is you have to protect the doll. The doll.
But yeah, so I will go ahead and kick it over to you guys. In no particular order, what were some of your, almost said this match, what were your favorite parts of this movie and your viewing experience?
I say with all the campy little like pranks, I guess they were playing, kind of gave me like a Home Alone vibe. but more just the not Home Alone factor because of, the pit of blood, the electromagnetic little device they had in the weight room, or turning the thing to 90 miles an hour for 20 minutes, and then the scene where I don't know, I guess they fast forwarded it. But all I gotta say is all this talk of chips just makes me want some chips.
Chips
Good
and
old
dip.
bag of chips.
Who do you think has the best chips and dip?
Well, I would say Cheetos. I'm a big Cheeto guy.
Cody, you like Cheetos? You a big Cheeto guy?
I like Cheetos. Cheetos are good.
Yeah.
I hear Hogan
Yeah.
is a nacho cheese guy himself, though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But Ruffles makes some good French onion dip, though. Ruffles says.
There you go. But Cody, what do you got on this match? What are your thoughts
On this match?
on this match? I keep saying that.
Listen, I know we're a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
But this is
Yes,
a movie.
we're used to doing matches.
Well, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Okay, so I couldn't remember when this movie came out, so I did look it up. I saw it was 93. I was thinking, though, this is the year that Hogan left the WWF. I want to say he left sometime in the summer, give or take a few months, because he was being moved down the card. After watching this movie for the first time, I no longer wonder why Hogan was being moved down the card in the WWF. They say it was his age, but, I feel like there may have been some other factors. That being said, though, this movie is, exactly what I expected. Mr. Mom meets Home Alone, on acid. Take it for what it is, good or bad, I do know that my wife enjoyed this movie. She grew up on it as a kid. I did not watch it as a kid, though, so I was watching this as an adult for the first time, so I think I received it a little bit differently than, someone who grew up on it. And also not being a Hogan fan, at least not since I was a kid, that kind of put me against the film to begin with. So, I found a little enjoyment here, but not the kind that the film was intending, I think.
Fair.
It could always be the Miz version of Marine.
Yeah, why didn't we do the Marine with John Cena? I feel like that would have been a much better
But
movie.
listen, we're in the era of what this movie was coming out of.
I guess.
We're talking about movies in that wrestling era.
This is the right era. I'll give you that.
But Ian, why don't you wrap things up? What do you think about this movie role?
Typical campy 90s movie with friends, but now, like I said, I would have enjoyed it more. I think my kids, if I got my kids to watch it, they probably would have enjoyed it. I know for sure my oldest would have. Like I was talking to Chris earlier, did anybody else notice that, when he was riding his motorcycle into town, there's a guy, honestly, throwing his dog into the river? If you look behind, there's a guy who throws his dog in there. I was like, what the crap was that? But no, it was good. It was cringe 90, but it was 90s at its best. And like I said, I hadn't watched this movie since I was a kid, so I guess I honestly, it felt like a fever dream to me. But still, overall, cringy, but in a good way.
Well, good. Also, could I just did anyone in this movie feel like Hogan was that smart of a guy? For the most part in the film?
Not really.
He's sticking his hand in pies and...
He seemed a little dense.
Okay, yeah. Right. We all get that, right?
Somebody did in the movie
majority of the
called
film.
him Lurch, and I think that was the most accurate.
That was Mother Love. Mother
Yeah.
Love called
There
him
you go.
Lurch.
So
And-
he gets called Frankenstein and Lurch, and we get a lot of these scenes, and yet at one point, for about 10 seconds, they want us to believe that Hogan is a genius when he is describing what a computer chip is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How does... I don't understand the storytelling here.
He's just a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's just a wrestler,
He's not
but he is
a bodyguard,
also a
he's a
genius
wrestler.
when it comes to
Cody,
computer chips.
it is around the era of early '90s WWF. So as we've proven in these reviews,
Yes.
storylines don't need to make sense. We watched The Undertaker go to heaven.
Yeah, we did. We totally did.
But that wasn't Undertaker.
Well, it was The Undertaker because the original Undertaker went to heaven and then he came back like an avenging angel and defeated his clone, who the WWF did not tell us where he came from. So he just showed up like he was materialized by the $1 Million Man.
It's money. Everybody has a price.
What does that mean, though?
Would the movie been better if it was about Hogan? Would it be better if it was Savage, which I would have been for?
I don't know. See, Savage was a good wrestler.
Savage
But
is
that
like...
was really just about it, though.
Yeah, true. I can do that.
I wouldn't call Hogan a good actor, though.
Neither would I, but I'm just saying.
Still also doing the
He
no-sell
was
for
the
the
face
security
of
guards.
WWF for how long?
Yeah, you're kind of reaching there. About calling
Too
him
long.
Hogan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody got a good Macho Man impression?
Oh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage to the top of the cup. That was my
Oh, no. That was honestly better than I thought it was going to be. Oh, yeah. You see all you little kids out there. Dig it. I wasn't going to expect it. But anyways, so the movie ends with Sean preparing to take a leave of absence from the Masons, but Alex and Kate intend to have him back much sooner. And therefore, Sean falls a victim to yet another prank. So they essentially tie rope to the back of his motorcycle and then tie it to a spool. And then he is ejected forward from his motorcycle and it seemingly almost dies. So that was kind of shout outs to that. And like throughout this movie, he like gets like a bowling ball dropped on his head and he has to fight that. Can we talk about like that dude's henchman, the Thanatos guy? Because he gets a very generic, almost racist Japanese dude in there that doesn't speak. He speaks bad English, and then one of his only other lines, other than broken English, is him speaking Japanese, and he is a karate fighter. And then we got a stereotypical Russian guy, and then I think he's German or Russian, and then we got the other guy that kind of looks like Kano.
He did look a little bit like him, though.
He did.
Really. Just give him a little metal eye, little prosthetic, and you're good.
Yeah, then we got the like very racist.
Yep.
We got the very racist like Aunt Jemima character in this with Mother Love as Corleen, and I just
Mother Love.
sure. Well, yeah, and then
That movie for me.
also did were at one point where her and Bert on the verge of fucking.
They were flirting pretty heavily. And there was a line from the kid that was not exactly. Okay, yeah.
I got the impression at the end that they weren't on the verge of it anymore.
They just were.
Yeah.
Well, she did talk about if he ever left her, she would break his legs. So I think that is love, I guess.
Yeah, if that's not love, I don't know what love is anymore.
Yeah.
All I know is if anybody moves, you're getting a facelift.
Okay.
That's what she said. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The karate dude kicks her in the foot and then kicks her.
That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said that, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
I was quoting the movie.
No. You're okay. You're okay. I was confused for a second, but like this episode, the film was poorly received by critics. On Rotten Tomatoes.com, it has an approval rating of 6% based on reviews from 16 critics. Which I like how Rotten Tomatoes will count the critics, and it says that 17 people won't even review this film, but 16 will. So that's interesting. On Metacritic, the film had an average score of 18 out of 100 based on 13 critics, so 3 less than Rotten Tomatoes, indicating overwhelming dislike, which I don't know what the grading system on that is. It's either it sucks, overwhelming dislike, greatest movie, or okay movie, and then greatest movie. Kevin Thomas of the Los Angeles Times says the premise has potential. I don't know what movie he was watching, but that the film is needlessly crass and lethally heavy-handed. Chris Hicks of the Desert News calls the film a silly kiddie flick that retreads territory better covered by Mr. Mom, Home Alone, and any other number of clones. He calls the film predictable and finds the comic mayhem difficult to recommend for children. Real question is, why is this guy talking to children?
And why does he like the desert?
Oh, the Desert News.
But we're going to come back to a quote from the movie in a minute. When
okay. Well,
I'm going to revisit that topic in a second.
lovely. Madeline Zima, who played Kate in the movie, would say in 2022, I think it was Movie Critic on YouTube, that Mr. Nanny was one of the movies she was most proud of, and that her experience was great, putting over Hulk Hogan and Sherman Hemsley specifically. So yeah, that's about it. But Cody, you said you wanted to come back to a quote. What was the quote?
Okay, so through the movie, I wrote down just a few quotes that caught my attention. For good and bad. We'll start with the bad. So when the bad guys first show up to kidnap the kids, did anyone else find the line problematic when they walk in the living room and one of them says, "We have come to play with the children"?
Oh yeah, that was.
Did anyone else notice that?
German
Yeah,
guy. That was
okay.
very concerning. Like,
Okay, like,
whole ass concerning.
I feel like there was another way that you could play out that scene.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Also, another quote that I wrote down when, what's his name? I've gone blank again. George Jefferson.
Bert.
Bert. When Bert realizes that Thanatos was the guy behind everything, he says, "I should have known." On the entire planet. Jeez. Okay.
That word says the.
Yeah. But yeah, he says, "I should have known," and he's like, on the entire planet, who else would have kidnapped children? Something along those lines. And I'm like, okay, so we're supposed to buy that this guy was a corrupt wrestling promoter from what? This would have been the 70s, based on the timeline of the film.
Well,
So-
he has an afro in the movie. So.
That's true.
So it's probably 60s.
Yeah.
Well, this movie came out.
60s, early 70s. So.
The movie came out in '93, and they said that he was shot 25 years or 15 years earlier.
Okay.
So do some math here. Okay. So, but we're supposed to believe that they should have known who was behind this kidnapping because this corrupt wrestling promoter is the only person on the planet who would have kidnapped children. Anyone else find any loopholes there?
That was weird.
I was like, I'm not sure if that's the first person, if a wrestling promoter is the first person I would have gone to.
But let's not think
When
about
someone
anybody
is-
else horrible.
When someone is trying to steal a high-tech computer chip and kidnap children, like my
Wrestling
mind
promoter.
automatically goes to Jerry Jarrett every single time.
It is Jerry Jarrett.
Every
Really?
time.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, why in the heck would a wrestling promoter need use for a computer chip anyways?
You think
So-
Vince McMahon's like, we're here for the children, pal?
Okay, so if we're talking about Vince McMahon, my mind might go there.
Maybe. Like, yes.
That one I can buy.
But Jerry? Me too, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, that's really it. Just that movie. I mean, nothing really, nothing exciting, nothing great. It was what it was. I mean, is there, in you guys' minds, as far as the Hulk Hogan movies? I know that Chris touched on this earlier, but what are your thoughts about those movies in general and where Mr. Nanny fits into those sorts of movies?
I mean, given his stature, I mean, the funny thing of it is just being Hulk Hogan, this giant bodybuilder-looking wrestler guy, being all of a sudden a nanny.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I guess it was a nice campiness to it for the factor of what it was, but like, all of those films that he did for New Line Cinema was just kind of like supposed to be comedic genius, and they all kind of were received badly.
I just felt he was the same character in every one of his movies. Pretty much.
I mean,
It's just Hulk Hogan being himself, pretty much. My opinion, anyway.
He was a lot nicer in this movie than I think he is, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was gonna say, given his recent events and kind of the things he's talked about, yeah, he's a lot more
Okay,
nicer.
I'll give it. This is 1980s Hogan in the WWF.
Okay.
Okay, I can see that definitely.
Yeah, I mean, so I've seen Suburban Commando, No Holds Bar, of course, and I think that's it. I don't know if Cody can handle it.
No,
That's
You know-
one vote out of 4. We can go with whatever he does next. So.
I will I will give Hogan credit for Rocky 3.
He did do great
Yeah,
Rocky
he did.
3.
Yeah,
It-
sure.
yeah.
That is like his Scorsese moment. It's Rocky 3
Yes.
when he plays Thunderlips, because someone else probably wrote the movie, likely. Sylvester Stallone wrote the movie, but he most likely said, "Hey, this is what I want," and Hulk Hogan followed suit. And I feel like in every other movie, Hulk Hogan was like, "How about we have a very racist Japanese man in this movie?"
That doesn't work.
No, don't remember.
He's like, and then the writer's like, "But we got this white dude from America," and he's like, "No, brother, we need a racist Chinese or Japanese guy." See, I was almost racist there. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we have had history with Hogan, which I wanted to get into. So I was listening to a podcast, as you do, and in the podcast, Hulk Hogan was talking about how he hooked Macho Man up with a motorcycle, and then I hooked him up with buying a car. And in both instances, he just went out of his way to shit on Macho Man, which the guy is dead. I mean, you win, Hogan. He's dead. And like, you're just not going to put the man over? I mean, I don't know. Kind of weird.
Just like how what usually happens when Hogan makes up with someone, when he made up with Savage, he died. Same thing with the Warrior, he died. Flair needs to watch out. All of those other legends need to watch out too. Don't shake hands with Hogan, or you're gonna die like within 7 days. It's like Ring Theory right there.
I'm glad that he likes The Rock so much, because if he didn't, The Rock would be dead. And then he would just be the pebble.
So I had to look up a little fun fact because I remember hearing about it, but I couldn't actually remember if it was. But being a bass player myself, Hulk Hogan was also a bass player in a band called Ruckus, and that's how he actually became a wrestler.
Yeah,
Because he was discovered by Gerald and Jack Briscoe.
the working title for this movie was actually called Rough Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the song that plays at the beginning of it and the end of this movie is actually a song that was written specifically for the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Pretty interesting stuff. That song has more confusing lyrics than the Mr. Ass theme song.
I mean, they were talking about going fishing in the deep blue sea.
Yeah, like what the fuck was that? That was like,
How was that like until you wanting rough stuff? Like what?
also,
You want to be rough in the sea, I guess.
what does he mean, rough stuff?
I mean, it could be a number of things.
I guess it's very innocuous, or not innocuous. It's very ambiguous.
It could be suggestive as well. I mean,
Very suggestive.
I guess. Yeah. I don't.
especially nowadays when you talk about like rough stuff, people are like, "Oh, you're into that." It's-
That rough stuff.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm the one wearing the mask here, so
What does that mean, though?
I don't know.
Okay.
Does
Just
it mean
saying,
a meeting?
it could mean anything.
I think we need some help from the crowd. All 10 of you out there. What do you think? So,
I don't think I saw it.
We're solid drop.
real quick, so the one of the 10 members in the audience asked, did Hulk Hogan perform one of his signature moves in this match? And I don't think they did. Chris, you had something to say?
No, like I said, I don't think I saw the Atomic Leg Drop one. I saw him in a leotard and do a whatever that was, and he carried Jefferson George
George Jefferson.
Bert, aka Bert.
Yeah.
He carried him and threw him across the room in a leotard. It was kind of funny.
He did. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember, pinky out, get that pinky out.
Pinky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I remember seeing. This was the funny campy stuff. I don't remember actually seeing any wrestling moves per se, unless they were the little flashback nightmares that were in there where he's getting his teeth kicked in and smashed into the corner of the ring post by everybody.
Are you surprised they let him go over?
he
I
did.
was gonna say Hulk Hogan let somebody go over.
How did that happen?
He didn't even Hulk out. What's that?
No, he didn't.
You know what? It was like the best part of this movie, and and I know all 10 people out there are going to be upset with me, but whenever the kid Alex Jr. is trying to stop this man, the bad guy, and he kicks him, and he just like slides across the garage. I remember was amazing. Legitimately, the only time I ever laughed in that movie was that part. Everyone's looking at me in disbelief, but that's a tough kid. I mean, and he also was getting bullied by a kid that was wearing like a fucking Better Home and Garden blanket.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I just felt like, come on, bro. Like, you can, because he was electrocuting people with, like, because he had these gadgets and stuff. And then he electrocutes one of the bullies with the wallet. And then I like how that kid just oversells. So you know it's a Hulk Hogan movie because there's some overselling. But the kid gets shocked, and then he gets against the locker, and he still kind of shakes while the other one just runs away. And then the kid that got shocked, he's like, oh, you know, I need to get on with the scene, and then he just takes off. So what happened to you being shocked?
It was the Goldust style of being shot.
I mean,
That makes sense.
It was a little better than Hulk Hogan scene where he was getting shot.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my lord, that scene was
Okay.
okay.
Cody, what you got?
I will say that when the kid gets slapped towards the end of the movie by Thanatos,
Kids,
he fucking went down, okay? So, like, when he gets slapped, I made a note that kid sold better than Hogan ever did in his career.
He really did.
Yeah, wow.
He really did, honestly.
Yes, he did.
It was pretty solid stuff. So, I want to ask you guys, it is off topic of the film, but it's still about Hogan. Have any of you listened to Hogan's recent interview?
When he's like lying all over the place?
Well, I mean, that's all of them, but like the recent one,
Yeah, the most recent. Yeah, I listened to some of it.
I did not.
where he talks about Simon Cowell.
Oh, no. Please fill us in.
So I'm gonna read like a short excerpt from it real quick, but just to catch everybody up on the context here, he's talking about how he is the reason Simon Cowell came to America and started producing music in America because he brought him over to produce one of the WWF CDs. Which it is true that Simon Cowell produced a WWF CD, but it was one after Hogan left the WWF. The one that Hogan did, Simon Cowell had nothing to do with. So Hogan goes into this story about how, I think it was like how they met and how he talked him into doing the CD that he didn't actually do. He claimed it took place at the show in Wembley, which would have been the show in '92 that Hulk Hogan was not.
Yeah, he was not there.
He was not on the card. He wasn't even there.
Yeah, that was Hart and Davey Boy Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wembley. Yeah.
So I can't remember. I think Hogan was out. I think he might have been out filming a movie at the time, but he wasn't even in the company then. So he's telling this story about how he got Simon Cowell to work on the CD, which Cowell did not work on, and he convinced him at Wembley, which he was not at. So I'm just going to take like this one quote. It's a couple sentences real quick. And I think it speaks for itself, and then I'm done. I'll hear you guys' opinions.
Are you going to die after that? You just said you're done very ominously.
No, I'm done talking. I'm going to listen to you guys respond to this. Okay. So he's talking about Simon Cowell whenever he says this. He came to help with the wrestling album. Long story. I'll make it short. By the way, side note, it wasn't short at this point. I was in Wembley Stadium, and I saw a lot of Make-A-Wish kids.
Wow.
Hold on. Is that like whenever Ice Cube said that he was counting triple doubles in that pickup game? Is that kind of like that? He was like, hey, brother, I've seen a lot of Make-A-Wish kids. These kids were really sick.
It gets better. Okay, so I was in Wembley Stadium, and I saw a lot of Make-A-Wish kids. It was me, Michael Jackson, and Mr. T.
Shout out.
Shout out.
It was all the Make-A-Wish kids during the 80s and 90s.
All of them?
All of them. All of the 80s.
All of them collectively.
Kids.
I had a kid there. That was in rough shape. The EMTs were with him, and he was on the stretcher, and you know.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
So we're setting the scene.
He was actively dying, brother.
They're in Wembley. Thousands of people. All of the Make-A-Wish kids from the 80s and 90s are all lined up, apparently. This one kid is on a stretcher with the EMTs. All right, back to Hogan. The EMTs were with him, and he was on the stretcher, and, you know, his body odor and stuff.
Wow.
It had a smell to it that I hadn't smelled in a while. Not bad, but it was just a different type of smell. I really wasn't sure what it was, and the parents were freaking out. They were Hulkamaniacs. I told the doctors and the EMTs,
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh God.
the kid is in kind of trouble here, So let me say my goodbyes and give him a hug and kiss him. I got a nice place for him out at ringside at Wembley Stadium, and it was all roped off.
Why do you need to kiss him?
Yeah. Why is Hogan kissing children?
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll tell you something, brother. I need to kiss the children.
He's trying to play with the kids.
For my vitamins. Yeah,
But according to this movie that we're so called reviewing, he hates kids.
he does
Yes,
hate
yeah.
kids, but he's lying again. Why? We can't believe Hogan.
This movie made me hate kids. I'm gonna be honest. So when that kid got kicked and then slapped, I was like, hell yeah, brother.
Do it again.
Do it again. Yeah. We didn't get a good angle, brother.
So that's where I'm going to end the quote. If anyone wants to look it up, though, you can. You can find the actual interview. I watched it. I cringed through it. I know
Anyway,
it.
Hogan. Yeah.
It's all
But, I
Hogan.
mean, like, first of all, how many Make-A-Wish kids is that? All the 80s and 90s kids?
All of them.
All at ringside? Or at least backstage?
12.
Did
73.
So, like, I also want to know when Hogan reserved a place for this kid ringside,
Mm-hmm.
did he reserve a seat or did he, like, reserve several seats so they could roll the stretcher out at ringside? That was my question. And also, what was the smell
Yeah,
that
someone.
Hogan recognized? He knew what it was.
Oh,
He hadn't smelled it in a
You
long
said it
time.
was. You said that they were Hulkamaniacs, so I thought it was the smell of Hulkamania,
It was the smell.
There you go. Although,
That's the answer.
which is a degree body spray.
I thought it was ants.
Okay, that joke didn't go over as good as I thought it was
I agree
going.
with Chris.
But all right, well, now that we're
I was gonna say, technically, I guess they didn't have body spray back then.
they did, yeah, because they had it smells like Teen Spirit.
Oh, you're right.
Well, I think it's just called Teen
Brute?
Spirit.
Brute?
Brute. My dad wore Brute.
Oh yeah, see, Brute was
That's
like
probably
that
what it
back in
was.
the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess.
oh, wait, no. Hold on. We got to revisit this quote.
Oh,
I forgot about it. One more thing. One last thing, and then we're done. So
feel bad
apparently,
if
if
we're
you
done,
skip
but-
to the end of it, Hogan, he talks about being in his match, and he talks about watching the crowd looking for the kid. He doesn't see him. He goes backstage. He said, I was the last person to wrestle in the main event. He goes backstage. He says, I said, what happened to the family out there? They said the kid passed away.
Oh, wow.
So hold on. So this kid's last moments on this earth were watching Hogan going over.
No, he didn't even get to watch him, remember? He didn't
Oh,
make it
yeah,
out.
that's
He
right.
didn't make it out to the crowd.
Yeah, and remember, probably last memory was he got a kiss by Hogan.
that's probably what killed him.
That probably what it was.
Is it
kiss
like,
of death.
is it like the finger poke of doom?
No, it's like I said, the shaking
Oh, yeah,
the
kiss
hands
of
earlier.
death.
You shake the hand,
It's
you
the kiss of
die.
death.
Okay.
So those are my
I hate
thoughts
to-
on
I hate to
Mr.
be
Nanny.
that guy, but
Well, thank you, Cody. That was great. I also like that you took more notes than this movie deserved.
I know there was not even that much trivia on the movie, let
No,
alone that
but
many notes.
Cody has no book.
Oh, there's a lot of insults on that paper.
Oh,
That's a lot of.
imagine.
Well,
Okay.
let's hear him, brother. We got a little bit of time.
I already gave you some of them.
Oh, okay. All 10 of you out there, you don't mind, do you? Okay.
Let's see here. Okay, so we talked about how this was. I'd already mentioned that this was Hogan's last year in the WWF. Like, I think he was already gone at the point that this movie came out in America.
This had to have been before he got in what, WCW?
WCW.
Yeah, so insert my comment about no wonder they moved him down the card. Let's see. A lot of comments on the pranks. Like, we had already talked about the electricity prank in the shower.
hmm
Like, I'm genuinely surprised that Hogan let them touch his hair to fix it like that.
Yeah.
He even hated people talking about his hair.
Also, I made several comments about what we talked about earlier about Hogan not being the brightest, except for 30 seconds of the film when all of a sudden he's a computer genius.
Well, he is.
So, I mean, apparently, at least for 30 seconds, he was. Also, I want to go back to, we were talking about the bullies earlier. So, we are supposed to believe that this kid is getting bullied by these two older kids at school, while at home, he is rigging all these booby traps and like terrorizing all of these adults and has almost killed Hulk Hogan like 4 times in this movie. But he can't handle these two kids until he gets a pep talk from George Jefferson.
He's got a crush on one of them. That's why he can't.
Okay, there we go. That makes a little bit more sense.
Okay.
Okay, if we can go back to the swimming pool scene. What was it?
The pit of blood.
Pit of blood. Pit of blood. There we go. There we go. So they lure Hogan out by screaming for help, right? They're saying, I can't swim. Okay, the girl is?
Yeah.
I'm right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's inside. They start screaming for him. He runs out. So if he would have run to the edge of the pool or just like taken a couple steps out and looked like from the patio, like everything would have been fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did they know that he was not only going to run over to the pool, but he was going to run onto the diving board and run to the end of it? Remember, that was a trap. They take the screws out of the diving board so it'll collapse.
Yeah.
At what point do they lure him onto the diving board specifically?
Minute 52.
Okay. I mean, that's as good as the answer as you're going to get.
I don't know.
Let's see. Yeah, see? Look at all these notes. Look at all this.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's more than this movie deserves, honestly. But you know what does deserve our attention, guys? Is this is once again our first live show, so thank you so much for coming out to that. Now we will take questions from the crowd and then get out of here. So one at a time, please. You gentlemen in the black shirt and the hat, what do you got? Okay. I think everyone left.
There's 10 of you in the crowd, so you got 9 more with 9 different
You
voices.
got 9 different. Yeah, you got 9 different. That's Paul, by the way. We work together at our work. I'm not going to dox myself, but we work together.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Hey, Paul.
It's Paul from Biscuitsticks. Please check out that YouTube channel, Biscuitsticks. He's actually the gentleman that provided the intro music. So very cool of him to do that.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, thank you so much.
For lack of better words, hell yeah, brother.
But yeah, so Biscuitsticks is on a mythical level, but we can probably get them 1 or 2 more listeners with this podcast. But check those guys out on YouTube. They're always doing great stuff. They're reviewing Baldur's Gate and StarCraft. They try to put out a video every week. Is that correct? Every other week. Okay, so but yeah, check those guys out if you're into gaming. So exciting stuff there. And you can always find us on YouTube or Spotify. If you have a question for the pod, you can submit those to Facebook or Instagram, or you can email it at that's3ref@gmail.com. Yeah, and we're always trying to post new videos every week. Like I said, depending on when this comes out, we would have already had the Starcade 83 episode. And then, of course, towards the end of the month, we are going to have Halloween Havoc 1993, Vader versus Cactus Jack. And then to be determined after that, of course, everyone's staring at me for some reason. Be sure to submit your pet of the week, and we will announce those on a week-to-week basis. So far, we have one person who did that, so, you know, chances are that your pet will probably win. And I think that's about it. We will try to do one of these live shows at least a few more times in the year. So if you guys have any suggestions, then please send those in. But other than that, that's kind of it from us. You guys be safe out there. Thank you so much for listening and showing up, all 10 of you. I have been your neighborhood cosplaying goof. Someone did ask what a cosplaying goof was. It is a derogatory term, an insult by Jim Cornette. So some self-deprecating humor there. But yeah, please check us out on Spotify and Instagram, Facebook and Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. I have been Jesse Whitedeer. You can find me at JWhitedeer on Instagram if you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to the bag man, Cody Bags. He'll say his goodbyes. Then we'll go with the Fragmented Luchador. And then, of course, your friend of mine, the Oklahoma, in Cooper. Cody, what you got?
All right, make sure to check out our next episode. We will be covering Starrcade 83, A Flair for the Gold. I'm excited for that. That's one of my favorite areas of pro wrestling. So, until next time.
I am the one and only Fragmented Luchador. You can check me out on Instagram at Fragmented Luchador. Twitter, I don't really use it, but you can also check out my band, which is called Fragmented Tranquility, and we're on all the socials. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Anywhere you find your music. But that is I, Chris Lawson.
And lastly, me, Ian Cooper, your favorite Oklahoma. Best way to find me is you can find me on my Facebook or also on TikTok at your favorite Oklahoma. But make sure when you spell out Oklahoma and you are FAV for fave, for short for favorite. So you are FAV Oklahoma OKLAHOMIE on TikTok, and that's all I got.
The human speak and spell in Cooper, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for that. No, I'm just kidding. I'll cut that part out. That was kind of mean. Sorry.
No worries, you good.
But all right. Thank you so much, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you later.